You opened Instagram this morning. Maybe it was before you even got out of bed. And within the first 30 seconds, you saw your coworker posting photos from Bali, some influencer showing off their new designer bag, a guy you went to school with, flexing his brand new Tesla. And here you are, scrolling, sipping your coffee, feeling this low-grade, almost invisible anxiety that you can't quite name. So what do? You go online later that day and spend $180 on stuff you didn't even plan to buy. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. And today, we're going to talk about exactly why that keeps happening and what it's truly costing you. If you want more psychology-based insights on money, investing, and wealth building, make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Here's the thing. Most people think they have a spending problem. They don't. They have a social media problem. That shows up as a spending problem. And that distinction matters enormously, because if you're trying to fix the wrong thing, you're going to stay broke, no matter how many budgeting apps you download. So let's go deeper than surface-level advice and actually talk about what social media is doing to your brain, your wallet, and your future net worth. Let's start with a number. According to a 2024 Bankrate survey, 48% of social media users made impulse purchases directly because of content they saw online. That's nearly 1 in 2 people. And here's the part that really gets me. 57% of them regretted the purchase afterward. So we're not even talking about people who bought something and felt great about it. We're talking about almost half the population making purchases they didn't plan, didn't need, and didn't even end up feeling good about. Every single day. Now you might be thinking, I'm not one of those people. I'm pretty mindful about what I buy. And look, maybe you are. But here's what most people don't realize. The effect of social media on your finances isn't always dramatic. It's not always one big stupid purchase. Most of the time, it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's the $40 top because an influencer wore it. It's the $65 dinner at a place you wouldn't have known about if it wasn't all over your feed. It's the $120 skincare routine you built because every creator you follow talks about it. Individually, feels normal. Added up over a year, you've just handed social media platforms somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000 of your money. Money that never went to your savings account, never went to your investments, just evaporated. This is where it gets interesting. Researchers published a study in early 2026, and what they found is that the damage isn't just about the money you spend. It's about how these platforms are architected, specifically designed to make you spend it. The algorithms on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube don't just show you content you like. They show you content that triggers a very specific emotional response: aspiration, inadequacy, urgency. And once those emotions are activated, your rational brain takes a back seat. This is not an accident. It is by design. Think of social media like a casino. When you walk into a casino, there are no clocks on the walls, no windows. The layout is intentionally confusing, so you can't find your way out. Every single detail is engineered to keep you in an emotionally stimulated state, where you make decisions you wouldn't make anywhere else. Social media is the same thing, except it's in your pocket, it's free to enter, and you're walking into it 20 times a day. The chips you're losing aren't tokens, they're dollars. Now let's talk about something called money dysmorphia, because this is a concept that researchers highlighted in 2025, and it is absolutely wild. Money dysmorphia is when you feel financially insecure, anxious, behind, not good enough, even when, by any objective measure, you're actually doing okay. You have a job, you have savings, you're not in crisis, but you feel like you're failing. And social media is the #1 driver of that feeling, because when you're constantly fed a stream of people who appear to be doing better than you, nicer apartments, cooler vacations, newer cars, your brain slowly recalibrates what normal looks like, and suddenly, your perfectly reasonable life feels like a problem to be solved. And how does it tell you to solve it? By buying things. Here's the math on what this actually costs you. Let's say social media influences you to spend an extra $400 a month, above what you would have otherwise. That feels conservative given what the data shows, but let's use it. $400 a month is $4,800 a year. Now let's say instead of spending that money, you invested it. in a low-cost index fund averaging 8% annual returns. After 10 years, that $4,800 a year becomes roughly $69,000. After 20 years, over $238,000. That is the real price of scrolling. Not what it says on the receipt, what it would have been worth if you'd kept it and let it grow. Here's the thing, no one thinks about it that way. When you spend $400 on stuff you didn't need, the bill doesn't say, you just traded $238,000 of future wealth for this. But that's the truth. Social media hides the real cost of impulsive spending behind pretty pictures and dopamine hits. Now look, I want to be fair here. Social media doesn't just affect your spending, it affects your financial self-esteem in ways that can be even more damaging long-term. A 2024 survey found that people who spend more time on social media have worse financial self-esteem and make poorer financial decisions overall. And this creates a vicious feedback loop. You feel bad about your finances, so you cope by scrolling. You scroll and see other people who appear to be thriving, so you feel worse. You feel worse, so you make an impulsive purchase just to get a quick emotional hit. And then, you feel bad about the purchase. Rinse and repeat. It's a trap, and most people are running on that wheel, without even knowing it. The European Consumer Payment Report from 2024 found that 53% of Gen Z and 47% of millennials admit to making impulsive purchases after seeing social media ads. And here's what makes that statistic actually terrifying. 37% of Gen Z and 44% of millennials have used credit cards, or taken on debt, to cover basic living expenses in the same period. So, we're not just talking about people spending fun money on things they enjoy. We're talking about people going into debt, high interest, compounding debt, while simultaneously being psychologically primed by their social media feeds to keep spending. That is a wealth destruction machine running 24 hours a day. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Should I just delete all my social media? And look, I'm not going to tell you to throw your phone in a lake. That's not realistic. And it's not the point. The point is awareness and intentionality, because here's what most people don't realize. The antidote to social media's financial manipulation isn't restriction, it's clarity. When you are crystal clear on your own financial goals, when you know exactly what you're building toward, social media loses most of its power over you. You can watch someone flex a Ferrari and think, good for them, instead of, why don't I have that? Because you know what you have, and you know where you're going. So here's the action framework. First, do an honest audit. Go into your bank statements right now, this week, and tag every purchase you made in the last 30 days that was influenced in any way by something you saw online. Be ruthless. Add those up. Whatever that number is, multiply it by 12. That's your annual social media spending leak. Then run the compound interest math, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable. Second, unfollow aggressively. Not people you hate. People who make you feel financially inadequate. That influencer who's always on a yacht. The account that makes you feel like your apartment is ugly. Your college friend who posts every purchase. Curate your feed like it's your financial future. Well, because it literally is. Third, install a 48-hour rule for any unplanned purchase over $50. If you see something on social media and you want it, wait 48 hours. The research is clear. That urgency you feel, it's manufactured. Most of the time, 48 hours later, you don't even want it anymore. That's the algorithm's influence fading. That's your actual preferences coming back online. And fourth, replace the scroll with a number. Literally put your investment account balance on your phone's home screen. Every time you pick up your phone to mindlessly scroll, you see the number first. That number is what you're building. That's the scoreboard that actually matters. Here's the truth that no one on social media is going to tell you, because it doesn't make for a good Instagram post. Building real wealth is boring, and slow, and invisible to everyone around you. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't get likes. You can't wear it or drive it or take it to Bali. But in 10 years, 20 years, it's the only number that will actually matter to your life. The people who build real financial security are not the ones with the most impressive feeds. They're the ones who figured out that the game social media is playing is not the game they want to win. And the moment you see it clearly, the moment you understand that every scroll is a psychological sales pitch and every impulse purchase is a vote against your future self. That's when everything shifts. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware. Awareness is where it starts, and if you're watching this video, you're already there. Now go do the audit, run the numbers, and start playing a different game. And before you go, I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments right now. What's the most money you've ever spent because of something you saw on social media? No judgment. We've all been there. And honestly, seeing other people's numbers might just be the wake-up call someone else watching this video needs. Let's make the comments section useful for once.